What's going on, guys? It's Mirwin. Today we're going to deconstruct my song Judas Interlude. So if you guys haven't watched the YouTube channel, we have our series Deconstructed, inspired by Genius, where I show you guys how I made the beat for all the music I make. Today we're going to be doing my song Judas Interlude off of my new album Strangers in the Dark. If you guys haven't heard this song or my new album, we got a link in the description. Definitely encourage you guys to go check that out before watching the rest of the video, but you don't have to. We're just going to get straight into it today. So for this song, we're going to be breaking this up into two. We have two different beats, we got a beat change in it if you guys haven't heard the song yet. So we're going to be breaking this video up into two halves. So we're just going to be starting with the first half today for this one. So the kind of the heart of this song is going to be, for this section of the song, is going to be this sample here. This whole record, you kind of heard me talk a lot about in the dissects or other deconstructeds about how I was inspired by a lot of the other hip-hop artists I really love and kind of their sound and, just kind of the classic hip-hop, sampling, chopping it up, all that. If you watch any of the other deconstructeds, all of the songs in this album were made using samples from TRACklib. So the sample we used for this song was from a group called The Delights, and it's called But Now We're Sure. So I'll play you guys the sample and maybe talk a little bit about that. So that is the sample for the first half of this beat. Well, I found this sample on TRACklib one night and I was just immediately drawn to it. I could already kind of hear myself rapping over it. Some of the things I really love about this sample, it's got a really cool drum break going in the background. We got some cool horns and guitar work. It's got a bunch of little different riffs in there, and then obviously the vocals are great. So love the sample. As far as processing what I did for this, so obviously we got this little section here I got. What I ended up doing is I pitched it down 2 semitones. And then we also have some EQ here, so we cut out the lows a little bit, and then we also got a little cut here. I believe it's just for some of the harshness, and a specific frequency, I guess. So that's the main processing we did. Also, if you notice here, so the original BPM of the sample is 112, so I also ended up slowing it down to 105 BPM as well. So just another thing I did to manipulate the sample. Next thing we'll do here is we'll get going on the drums. So first we got this hi-hat here. I'll play you guys that. So, just pretty straightforward, just a 2-step there, nothing too crazy, just left it dry, no processing on it. Now we got a little cymbal hit. So something I like there a little bit. I actually really like using crash cymbals in my, in my beats, just to, add some energy as soon as, the beat kind of drops. But this one has a little bit more of a drum machine feel, so I thought that was kind of cool. Moving on here again, we will do another hi-hat here as well. So here, we got some hi-hat rolls that I add in there. I love adding different ear candy and percussion in my drums. So we got a little, some hi-hat rolls that are pitched. Just looking at the MIDI here, I also ended up messing with the velocities just to make it, feel a little more natural and just a little less robotic, I guess. And then we'll look at some of the other percussion we have here. So we got this clave, and we got some reverb here from Valhalla, that plugin I used on it. So I'll play you guys that. Maybe sounds a little weird by itself, but, with the rest of the drums, you got kind of that bounce going in there. Next, I'll play you guys this cowbell. And then next, we'll play you guys the chant, and then we'll play the snare for you guys. So yeah, we got that chant there. Again, just another percussion element. Just, add something, always something interesting happening with the drums. And then last part here, we got the snare, and then we'll do the kick. So So processing there, I ended up adding a little magma on it, so that's like kind of a saturation plugin. So it gets you hear that snare is really crunchy. So it adds some extra distortion on there, which is really good. As far as the pattern on there, you kind of heard me talk about on the sample how I really love that drum break going in the sample. So I really tried to mimic some of that as far as like where the extra snare hits are going when I was doing the snares. And then last part here, we got the kick. So kick, we got EQ, and then I added, this is something I don't normally do, but I added a little magma onto the kick just to add some little extra oomph to the kick. So I'll play you guys the kick here. There we go. And then again, something I did with the kick there, again, I tried to mimic what was going on in the original sample for when the kick was hitting as well, just to, keep it consistent and, mesh well with the sample, but also, add my own little take on it with some of the hits as well. And then the last part really for this first half of the beat is going to be the 808. So 808 here, we got EQ, so it's layered, this bass, we got an 808 and then we got the sub as well. So the sub just has EQ and distortion. The 808 has EQ, and then it's got low magma on it, and then it's got max bass, which is a plugin, just kind of a distortion compressor, I don't know exactly how to describe it, but sounded good on this one. I used to use it a lot more, but it sounded really good on this one, so threw it on there. And then we just kind of merged those two sounds to be one bass sound. This whole album was actually mixed and mastered by my boy Shane Lance. Make sure to show him some love, killed it for me. So it might be a little bit of variance on how some of these stems sound compared to the original, but we'll play you guys the bass here. So that is the bass for the first half of Judas Interlude. So really that is all the elements for the first half of this song for Judas Interlude. Like I said, we're going to be splitting this up into 2 videos here. So that is all for the first part of this video. Make sure to stay tuned for part 2 of this one where I show you guys how I made the second half of this beat. Again, if you guys haven't listened to this song or my album yet, definitely encourage you guys to go check that out. It means a lot to me. I appreciate anyone who listens to my music. Thanks for watching. Peace.